How did we get from the music awards and one of the artist's girlfriends stripping naked to Polyev eating an apple? What do those things have in common? Is there any connection? I'm trying to find it. We were talking about music in our break while we record these things and we render them out to a file that I can use on YouTube. And we were talking about what I was working on, a piece of music, and Jim was talking about struggles as we age.
Well, number one, the piece of music you did is by Gordon Lightfoot.
Gordon Lightfoot, one of my heroes from Massey Hall days, Gordon Lightfoot.
Yeah, and you did a lovely, lovely job with it. It was, and you did a lovely job. It was beautiful. I didn't know it was actually Gordon Lightfoot's song. I thought you'd written it. So, anyways, your vocals is very warm, very nice. And so, what were you imagining?
Yeah, I called it my Massey Hall frame of mind.
Massey Hall frame of mind.
And I reminded you I have a little album somewhere here from 1965, the Toronto School Board's orchestra. So I was selected. I think I was 10 or 11. And we practiced on Massey Hall. We practiced at the Education Centre, but then we did the concert. The May Festival was done with the Toronto schools and Toronto choirs. So all the kids in public schools, so from grade 4 or 5 to grade 8 were there. Anyway, Massey Hall's always been on my mind, and Gordon Lightfoot, I used to love watching him at Massey Hall.
Always wanted to play Massey Hall. You know, I saw... Well, Crowbar, Chilliwack.
At Massey Hall?
At Massey Hall. And a few others. Last time I was there, I was with Scott Jackson, and there was a tribute band to Bowie. It was Bowie.
Wow.
And because Scott gets mad at me because I say Bowie.
Yes.
It's Bowie. All right, it is Bowie. I know that. So, and that was great. It was fun to go. That was just when my single song, I think, was coming out. And, yeah, so...
Very good. Yeah, we always had dreams. I did of, well, when I was a teenager, Gordon Lightfoot, of course, was just peaking. And I always thought, wouldn't that be great if, just go down and he says, hey, why don't you come up and take my guitar?
We always have those dreams.
Isn't
always
that funny?
Have those dreams. And in the audience, that's Alice Cooper talking. Hold on. Is Jim Sampson way up there? Way up there? Hi, Jim. Yeah. Never going to happen.
No, never going to happen. But that's the musician mind that we have is, what could we do? Could we be on stage with somebody that we idolize? I guess that's the right word. We enjoy their music and would like to play with them.
One of my biggest thrills was I was playing at a church with a number of different bands, and I was playing at this church. And as I was walking in, a young man said, "You're Jim Sampson." And I just for a minute, I thought that was great. That turned out to be the worst performance ever in the history of my band. Last time I ever played there,
wow.
I had like 13 people backing me. And for some strange reason, the sound man had only me on. So I'm on stage hearing all 13 people, not even caring how I'm doing the guitar. And it wasn't until it was all over that a friend of mine came up, a friend of mine's son came up and said, "This is what you sounded like." And it was just me, and it sucked horribly. And,
pretty devastating.
Yeah, well, I felt, I was mad.
Yeah.
Because number one, what kind of a sound man doesn't know that there's 12 other people not being heard? What kind of a sound man would do that?
Was it intentional?
I wouldn't. It wasn't a big enough event to be intentional.
Right.
It would, if it was a vendetta. And I don't know why that person would, I know who it is. And I don't know why that person would have a vendetta against me. Incompetence to the highest level. Because, how do you miss 12 other people on a stage? And the work and the coordination that took to have those 12 people there and not being heard is just, that kind of was the last.
It's sort of the realm of your worst nightmare as a musician during a performance.
Yeah. Well, especially when you don't know. So you don't even stop and say, "Hey, excuse me." So
would you say, looking back over your...
I would now. I've seen other musicians do it. The only way around things is literally being as simple as possible.
Yeah.
I have one amp. I have one mic.
And you're in control.
And I want you to turn the guitar up in my monitor. And there's the balance I would like to go out there. You know, I have been in a place where sound men deliberately sabotage the act. I saw it with one time with who's the woman that did Black Velvet? Black Velvet.
You got me. Bob will get it.
Anyways, I was in I watched a concert there, and the opening act, they just put pure white light on him. And he begged them through the entire time, could you just put one color on me, not this blaring white? And he actually said into the mic, we have the same management team or the same agency. He said that in the mic. They didn't budge. And then there was another time I saw a band that was in a park, and I knew them and I went to see them play. Same idea. They had to actually say to the sound man, just shut it off. We'll do it without it. Shut the monitors off. Shut them off. They just
So it does happen.
sabotaged.
It does happen.
So the main act looks good.
Right. Now, getting back to your personal reflection, was that time with your group behind you when the sound being only you, was that your worst experience?
Yeah, I think that was my worst experience as far not at the time, but after.
Yes.
Because there was allotted more time for me than anybody else, and that wasn't necessarily my choice. As you know, I have a very inferior, I'll do one song, fine, I'll be fine. But there was allotted time, and when it was all over, thinking, a matter of fact, I think my brain just went into a fog and said, I just can't imagine how painful that was for everybody
for
out there.
the audience, right?
I can't, because you're not playing a guitar like you're being the accompaniment. If you think you've got another guitar, another bass, a keyboard player, a drummer, all that crap, you're thinking all that's covering a lot of what you're doing. I mean, some people, even as big stars as, say, Springsteen, imagine him standing up there not knowing that his guitar is the only one being heard. Because some of it would just sound like gronk, gronk. Because he's thinking all the trumpets and everything else is going on behind him, right? So it was the after effect I've never forgotten.
Yeah.
And I never understood how that could happen.
But it was your worst recollection.
Yeah.
All right, here's one from the Wigmore experience, the
Okay.
Wigmore vaults of worst, most terrifying experiences. Try doing a 3-part a cappella, no instruments. And you've done this, you know the harmony parts, but it relies on everybody getting their opening note from a pitch pipe. So you know the little silver ones that you blow into and you get the key. So that's right. So we started. I got my note. Somebody else got theirs, and I'm not mentioning the names. The third one. What? No, it's bum, bum, bum. Okay, everybody got the notes. Da, 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 da. Bum. What? What note are you singing? Here's your note. Then we give it to... Couldn't get the note. We were there for, I swear it was an eternity. It might have only been 15, 20 seconds, but it felt like forever. And I finally said in exasperation, I've got the melody. I'm starting the song. You guys can figure it out. And I started. One had it. One did not.
Really?
And never got it through the whole song. The whole song. A cappella. I died many times, 1,000 deaths in 3 minutes
I have
or
another
less.
death, which was close to the other one, but it was only 3 or 4 songs. And one of the songs was a song I wrote, and we're capoed 3. And the keyboard was to be capoed 3. And the keyboard was not capoed 3.
How, you mean the keyboard was supposed to play in the key of
Yeah.
capo 3?
I just call it capoed. My
which
guitar
would
was
have probably
capoed
been
3.
a G,
yeah.
key of G.
Yeah. Anyways, and that person was oblivious, smiling through the whole song, which was horrible.
You're playing in 2 different keys.
And well, we kept pointing, saying, "Oblivious! Look over here! 3. oblivious.
Unbelievable.
Almost to the point of like, are you doing this on purpose? Like, it is just like oblivious. Don't you hear how horrible this is?
Apparently not.
No. And I think the audience sort of went,
Somebody did.
I think, I can't remember, but it was outside.
You
and
slipped them a
again,
five?
it was like, this just isn't going to work.
Isn't that funny? So here, these are traumas from musicians, and at our age and stage, they still terrorize me in the wee hours of a morning and a nightmare. I might replay some of that stuff, and I thought, I gotta shake it.
My nightmares, I have nightmares like that all the time, and what it is to be like, you and me, we're performing. Isn't this great? Okay, perfect. We're on in 20 minutes. Okay, this is wonderful. What are we playing?
We don't know. We're on a
Are we just jamming? Like, what are we playing? I've had that. I don't have a guitar. Well, there's just 2 blocks down. There's a
store.
We're playing. Got to get to a store and buy a guitar, and of course, it's always the same crap.
Yep.
Strings run backwards or something. Always that way.
Playing left-handed.
I had a great dream last night, but it was nothing to do with music.
Well, this is the theme of music podcast. So what we're talking about is nightmares, but let's talk about the flip side. I mean, everybody's fearing breaking a string and having to do a lead with the top E string broken. How do you reconfigure to make the lead work when you're running out of strings? Do you transpose it down? Anyway, those are the things of nightmares. What are the things that really floated your boat as a musician?
I played in a church in Beaverton once with some friends who I don't believe...
The one on Highway 48 there?
No, it was the one right in the town.
Oh, okay.
A little church.
Yeah.
The acoustics were incredible.
Wow.
And I had no mic, I don't think.
Wow.
And I just had an acoustic guitar and did it at the front. And it was one of my more difficult songs. It was Praise the Lord. And I think it sounded great. I really think it sounded good.
The rural country church with the best acoustics.
And I was a stranger there. I think somebody was trying to set me up.
Well, we're all strangers here on a place called Earth, Jim. Tales from the crypt of musicians and nightmares, the sad things that happen to us, traumatize us, PTSD for musicians. Jim and Terry Show, signing off. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.